All right, guys, this has got to be the fastest turnaround, quickest conclusion that I have ever seen in the gun world. Ever, frickin' ever. This one is a massive update, follow-up video from the video we did about 2 hours ago with NAGR dropping a subpoena on Magpul. Guys, this is a very important video for you to spread out, and you're going to see why in 1 second because Magpul has responded. I've got all the details for you right now. I got some calls, and I've basically splice this video together to show you what is happening because this is an important update to the very thing we dropped about 2 or 3 hours ago. All right, guys, if you're in for this fight, if you want to join the cutting edge, if you want to make our 2A space better and hand it to the next generation better than you found it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. We are doing something really special here, and I'd love to have you guys be a part of it. All right, as you guys filter in, make sure audio video is good, excellent, incredible, all the good things. All right. So this video is going to be a little bit of a quicker one. I'm going to let some people filter in so you guys can know what's going on. I don't have to basically repeat myself and you guys not be in the know. But basically, what we're dealing with in this scenario is NAGR made a move today. Myself and Katie, we both did videos on it. I'm going to actually show you right here. This is actually some evidence of the video that I'm referencing for Katie. She did the exact same one. That's on her channel, Stone Second Sense. If you want a different perspective and another take, Stone Second Sense on YouTube. Check her out. But we're going to come back to that in 1 second. All right, so we've got 500 people in here very quickly. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right, chats, emojis, all the pieces, and spread this out because Magpul has responded. And in my opinion, they deserve some credit. Both parties do. I think you guys are going to like this. All right, so this is a perfect case in point of why the stance on my channel is we provide feedback and we give the opportunity to redeem. And then when they do, they get positive accolades. That's the whole point. We didn't jump straight to burning anybody down on this one, and it bore fruit, really great fruit, which I'm going to walk you through right now. That's the entire point. This is for the betterment of our entire Second Amendment community. And when companies do the right thing and respond to feedback, they deserve the accolades to reinforce that behavior. And you got even more companies coming relatively quickly in short order that are going to have exactly the same kind of rocky redemption story. But that's another thing for another time. Let's get into this right here. So what you're looking at is the press release that NAGR put out. And I've got to show you the backstory here so I can tell you the impact of the current results or outcomes. So I did a video 3 hours ago, NAGR subpoenas Magpul in fight against magazine bans. Now, this was released, as you can see, Tuesday, September 9th, and I'm just going to do a real quick summation. Oops, that's not the right thing. I'm going to do a real quick summation. I think that's... Oh, come on. Stop it. I'm going to do a real quick summation here in a second, and then I will... heck with it. Whatever. It's not working right. I'll give you the updates. So, September 9th, as you can see, the National Association for Gun Rights today announced it has issued a subpoena to Magpul Industries demanding the release of civilian sales data on standard capacity magazines after the company refused to cooperate voluntarily for over a year. That was the overarching premise, okay? So they dropped a subpoena and they flexed a little bit. I'll be honest, they did. Now, NAGR has since called me and effectively told me that Magpul has come to the table, and that's incredible. Because they offered multiple things on NAGR's side. Again, I'm laying out the entire playing field. NAGR put out a video on their YouTube channel from Hannah Hill, the VP of NAGR, basically saying they would offer anonymity, they would offer protections, they didn't want any customer data, they only wanted the actual numbers, all towards common use argument in one of their lawsuits. That was the entire point. The entire thing was they wanted the ability to cite the numbers in order to beat the tyranny of the two-way pushes from mag bans and AR bans. That was the entire thing. It was built upon common use, okay? Now, I can go down all the data and the points here, but I'm not going to show you this article. I'm not going to link it for the reason I'm going to bring up in 1 second. So, NAGR put up a YouTube video. They cited it. They put up this press release. We covered it, again, right there, as you can see in the actual document. National Association for Gun Rights subpoenas Magpul and fight against magazine bans. September 9th, that's Katie from Stone Second Sense. Okay, now we come to the next evolution of this, and this is the great part. NAGR has since pulled down every single post, every single one that you've seen, YouTube, X post, and the press release itself. They have completely pulled it. And the reason why is the big payoff here. Magpul, through back channels, through attorneys, they have communicated between the two parties, and Magpul has come to the table. In under 3 hours, you guys have watched a video, taken part in the process, taken part in the feedback, made your voices heard, and now the very numbers and the data that is required for the 2A fight that NAGR was seeking has been, I can't say delivered because it hasn't been delivered. The attorney conversations have been favorable towards the outcomes that we desire in the short term. I can't tell you exact dates and times. I don't know those exact dates and times, but I can tell you that NAGR, in a good faith effort to basically foster this, has pulled their post down, and Magpul has come to the table, and through attorney communications, they've said they're going to assist in this requirement, in this request. Now, that is a really important piece of the story, because you're not going to see NAGR going out and continuing to basically pummel this point home, because Magpul came to the table and they did drop the subpoena. They did have a subpoena offered, but if this continues, I'm willing to bet you that the subpoena wouldn't be necessary. That's the entire point here. NAGR, in my personal opinion, I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not affiliated with GOA, NRA, 2SF. I'm not affiliated with any of them professionally, like financial, contractual. I can talk to all of them easily. So what they did here, honestly, took some balls, because that had a pretty high possibility of a blowback. And honestly, Magpul, hat tip to them, because they came back and they said, you know what? We misunderstood. There was clearly something up. So let's have our attorneys work together, and we're going to figure out how to further the Second Amendment cause, because the underlying principle, that's the entire point. And that's where I want to bring this entire thing full circle. If, hypothetically, our space, our viewers, all the people involved in this, if they had gone out and said, we are going to burn this thing to the ground, Magpul is officially canceled. We're going to get the gasoline, we're going to get the videos, we're going to burn them in videos and post them on the internet, grab our knives and pitchforks, Magpul would be in a bad position, and they wouldn't be amicable to coming to the table and helping the joint overall cause. That's just human nature. On the other side, NAGR, having conversations and being open to conversations, basically said, hey, you know what? In the efforts of furthering this, let's pull this stuff down. Let's figure this out together, and we'll make this work. Guys, that is by default, function by function, how we should be working. Feedback is directly issued. The pressure is ramped up in the short term, and then the companies realize it's in their best interest to work with the Second Amendment for the overall best interest of the Second Amendment, and the feedback is taken, and then action is maneuvered, and a common outcome is desired. Guys, this is incredible. Really, really strong. And I'm jumping to comments here in 1 second. So here's where I stand on this, and I have to leave the other video up just because if I delete it, it'll look like something. It'll basically look like something wasn't in place, and I'll have a update video like this one without something to be updating, so I can't take it down. But all the notes will be accommodated in that video. And I already see some stuff I want to talk about in the chat over here. Bottom line, NAGR. They took it down in good faith. They took down all the stuff in good faith, and they didn't want to cause brand damage on something that wasn't necessary. That's good on them. They did launch the subpoena to apply pressure. I think that was a ballsy, risky move. It was a thing. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below if it was necessary or not, although based on the outcomes, it seems like it was an effective maneuver. And then Magpul, seeing that in a very short order, literally about 2 hours, my phone was ringing. And they have come to the table through attorney conversations, and they are going to provide the things that NAGR needs to further the fight in the Second Amendment on this common use NAGR versus Massachusetts piece. Guys, if we did not have a feedback structure and we did not have a way to tell companies you need to come to the table, we need to do this, this wouldn't have happened. This would have just been another SIG. It would have been another Glock. It would have been another SDI, another Palmetto State, literally another GOA. If we just work through the normal processes, we can make a huge difference. You guys witnessed this happen in a 2-hour time span. That is unprecedented. And I'm going to give credibility to both parties, because they both came to the table and they both decided, you know what, maybe we should work together on this. And you know what? Go team. Hats off to them. Let me jump over here in the actual chat, because I saw a few things. Hold on a second. I saw one that I really want. Here we go. Charlie VCU 1988 says, that's suspicious that it took a subpoena to make them come to the table. You know what? I cannot tell you that is not an incorrect assessment. If it takes a subpoena, it takes a subpoena. But on the other side of that, they did respond to it. I can play devil's advocate. Hypothetically, Magpul's a very large, well, that's not hypothetical. Magpul's a very large company. Hypothetically, if one arm is not talking to the other arm and there's a huge communication issue, that could chalk that up. I don't know. I'm not involved in that process, but there are other things that do make that look a little bit different. This is another great one from David Green. Again, I'm going to break into this in a second. I can understand from a legal stance why Magpul wouldn't give that info on a dime. Well said. And this is an interesting piece, David. I want to hear you guys on this one because this is a really good thing. They were not asking for customer information, which I think would be beyond the pale and stupid. In fact, Hannah Hill from the VP of NAGR actually said in the video on NAGR's channel, this is not what we're asking for. Let's apply these protections. We don't want that. And I think that's a reasonable stance. On the other side of that, if you don't want to release those sales numbers, fine, don't release those sales numbers. But there are ways that you can do this to achieve both ends, protect your anonymity, but also achieve the Second Amendment push, which will only help your business and help the Second Amendment. Like there are ways to do this. Sometimes I guess it just takes a little bit of a pokey poke. Our magazines are going nowhere. Yeah, our magazines are going nowhere, exactly. I'm just trying to check the chat real quick. Sometimes I have to... Pirate Princess says, I'm going to have to rewatch the video later because my blonde brain can't process this all at once. By all means, go ahead. Todd Hester says, I keep repeating this. United we stand, divided we fall. Everyone has to fight. Together we lose. I completely agree with that. Make 2A great again. It's always great, baby. What are you talking about? Make it great again. It's incredible. Cliff notes, please. All right. I'll do the cliff notes here and I'll wrap up in 1 second. So we're 11 minutes in, so I told you I'd keep it short. Oh, man. Irish Rover says, oh, man, I just burned all my Magpul mags. See, that's why we don't do that, Irish. And, of course, I know you're joking, but it is funny. All right. Mulatto says it was Mulatto Dame. I don't even know how to say that. It was about sales, not customer. Maybe. I honestly have no idea. Sales figures can have effects on stock prices. Honestly. Okay, so a couple people asked me kind of what the high-level overview is. Here it is. High-level overview. NAGR sends subpoena because they weren't getting the info they needed to further the 2A fight for common use for mag bans in Massachusetts. Magpul was reportedly being not being responsive. Subpoena drops. Magpul attorneys call NAGR attorneys. They have a little kumbaya moment. NAGR takes all the things down or the press releases. Then what's it called? Magpul decides, you know what, we're going to work together. We'll see what we can get information for you. And now we're in holding pattern to see when that comes out, because I'm sure that NAGR will apply accolades where is necessary as well upon that data delivery. That's the very Cliff Notes version. But all right, Charlie VCU says, Zelda says, no, go long. I was late too. All right, that's funny. Magpul from Charlie says, Magpul has government contracts that tie hands. Completely possible. But I will note, and this is an important piece, NAGR specifically was asking for civilian, was not asking for government or contracted. Tactical Viking Beard says, all 2A needs to stand together so we can win this fight, not just legally, but also a nationwide version of what AR owners did in Illinois. There you go. So it looks like we are landing planes. Guys, listen, I promised you at the open of this, I would not keep this video too long. This is an incredible update. Do this for me at the end of this. Show NAGR some love in the comments below. Show Magpul some love in the comments below. This is the way that this should function. And I'm going to continue pouring on this, because if a company makes a mistake, which is made of humans, which is going to happen, it's inevitable, and then they come to the table and then they say we either made a mistake or they own it or they fix it. They say, here's how we're going to fix it going forward. They get back to the freaking table, whether it's NRA, whether it's GOA, whether it's Magpul, whether it's SDI, anything. My point is, if they show remorse and they show forward movement, they need to get back in, because we have much bigger trolls and monsters at the gates that are knocking on our doors, and we're going to slay every one of them when we all turn our guns this way. Politically, hypothetically, I would never do it in real life. I love each and every one of you just the right amount. I hope you guys feel good about this and enjoy this little saga that was wrapped up in a 3-hour time span, and I will see you on the next one. My name is Braden.